Good morning, everybody. My name is Kieran Stapleton. I'm the head at St Joseph's Catholic High School in Slough, and this is the 6th of April. I'm going to quickly run through some briefing notices for parents and for students, which kind of in some ways summarise the newsletter that went out. We're aware that the newsletter is going to be quite a tome at the moment. There's a lot of attachments on it. Hopefully this will clarify some of the more key areas in it. And needless to say, if you've got any questions, then please don't hesitate to email through. There won't be anybody in the office to pick up any phone calls for the foreseeable future until we hear otherwise with the coronavirus breakdown. But we aim to be physically opening the school back on the 22nd of April for critical workers. And those people who signed up on just before we broke up beforehand, will be in contact with them to that end, to that element. First messages, though, are concerning free school vouchers. We'd already set up a scheme through the Tesco Corporate Award Scheme whereby we could put money onto an account for students and then email a link through their school email addresses, which they would be able to download either onto their PCs or laptops and print out, or pick up directly onto their phone and go into the store and actually use it in exchange for food. That comes to £15 a week. We gave 2 weeks in one go, so that'd be £30 over a fortnight. The government has now got its free school vouchers into being, and we're signed up for that. However, there's going to be a delay between when we've signed up and getting them. Also last week, at the beginning of last week, the government had said that it wasn't going to be running the school voucher system over the Easter holidays. Towards the end of the week, it U-turned and said that it was going to be doing that. We, at this point, are looking to retrieve those vouchers. They're somewhere into the system, but in the meantime, we've topped up the students' accounts for them over the 2 weeks, so they won't be without. When we do get those vouchers, we'll accordingly pass them on to the students as quickly as we can. But they shouldn't lose out from the actions that we've done so far. We've been trying to phone call parents through heads of year and through our family liaison and our safeguarding unit. But as of the end of last week, we've started to try and get all the form tutors to phone everybody at home. Reason for this is because we won't be back in time for the April 24th APR day, which is the time when parents would have been able to see the form tutors. There's three reasons why we're doing this. One is to just check that the students' learning is okay and that it's moving forward. Secondly, is to see what kind of issues are coming up, and your feedback will be really helpful to help us streamline that. Thirdly, it's just to see that everything's okay at home and if there's anything that we can do to help towards that end. The teachers have been told to withhold their phone numbers. They'll be using their own individual numbers. So please don't look alarmed if you get a call and the number is withheld or it comes up as a private number. It's probably one of us trying to get through. An important notice here for Year 11 and Year 13 in particular regarding your PPE reports and the grades. You're going to shortly receive your child report via email from one of the senior leadership team. I just really need to make you aware that those grades reflect an aspect of their course, and where they are at that time, they're an indicator to where the students were at that point, but they are not the predicted grades that would go through to the exam boards. More of this in a little bit. But we just know that at this point, we've got a vast evidence of historic data behind us. The students do go on to make significant progress from this point. That will be reflected in their final grade entered. Last year, it was, in some cases, more than a grade. On average, it was about a grade extra for each person for the year group. We find that that's happened year after year after year. However, if your child is studying a course which requires coursework and is capable of being completed at home and it's still outstanding, please make sure that that is completed, because that still will be required. A bit more of this later, but outstanding coursework must be completed. If there's any queries or you don't receive your report by the end of the Easter holiday, then please do get in contact with Miss Arif, whose details are on this slide. Now, the question which is probably most at the forefront of the mind for everybody who's taking public exams this year, or would have done, is to do with how the GCSE and the A-level grades are going to be assessed. Now, the government are saying that this is only for those Year 11 and Year 12 and Year 13 students that would have been taking exams. If your student was, or if your son or daughter was one of the students that was going to take an exam earlier than that, that's not going to happen this year. There's two main points that you need to make aware. The first is that the school is going to be asked to provide a centre assessment grade for each student in each subject, and then that will be submitted to the exam board by the head of centre as a grade that each student is most likely to have achieved if they set their exams. That's a professional judgment derived from the evidence held within the centre, and we can also bear in mind the historic progress that the students in the school have gone on to make in the past, which on average will have put us certainly one of the top schools in locality, if not in the country. So you can be assured that they're going to benefit not just from the excellent teaching that they've had over the last 5 years, but from the previous students as well. As a community, we all benefit when one person benefits. Now, the judgment is the most likely grade a student would have received if they'd set their exams this summer and completed any non-exam assessment. We've been asked, though, not to share this with students and with parents, so we'd ask you to please respect that as we move forward and find out more details about how that's going to happen in the near future. Consequently, what's going to happen for after Easter over Year 11 and Year 13 is what I'm going to cover in the next couple of slides. For Year 11 students after Easter, what we're saying is that Year 11 are not going to be set any further work for the GCSE subjects after today. The only exception to that will be coursework that needs to be completed. Now, we've said in previous letters and previous newsletters since the virus outbreak started that the next 2 weeks up to and after Easter will be a last opportunity for those students who perhaps not fully applied themselves over the course of their GCSEs to prove to their teachers what they're capable of in entirety. Now, the vast majority have been working hard. This won't be seen as a period of final assessment. These students should feel confident that you're already in line to achieve the grades that you deserve. So rest assured from that. From Monday, the 4th of May, Year 11 students will embark on assignments that will be set to prepare them for the next stage of their studies. Now, as the majority of Year 11 students are going to be studying A-levels here at St Joseph's, we're going to provide more information about how they'll access this work after Easter with Mr. Clark, who's our head of sixth form. He'll take the lead on disseminating sort of Year 11 to 12 transition for all subjects, which will predominantly comprise of bridging subjects and bridging topics and projects designed, which they would have normally have got over the summer holidays to prepare them for the beginning of those courses. And we'll set out a separate programme of study for those planning to go on to future generations. Year 13 students, we're telling students that we're going to curtail A-level students pretty much from last Friday, with the exception of some departments who are going to continue to teach their A-level subjects, as the students' first year in degree level will depend upon the foundation that they would have finished there. The majority of subjects, however, particularly in maths, for example, have already finished their subjects, but there may be some other subjects who haven't finished yet and feel as though that's an absolute essential requirement for the courses that you're going to do in your first year degree. However, from the 4th of May, teachers are going to set relevant preparatory assignment for those intending to go to higher education, and there will be some careers advice and support for those students who are going into the world of work or indeed still undecided about their next step. What I should say at this point, though, and this is really significant, any outstanding coursework must be completed. For BTEC students, your coursework must be completed to each existing deadline, and any outstanding work must be kept up to date, because that is outside of an examination subject, and the examiners will mark that and grade that as they always would have normally have done. Anybody doing the EPQ must continue to finish that so that you've got that qualification. As that's purely coursework, that won't be affected by anything that we've spoken to hitherto. That needs to be entered and got ready for completion as normal. Moving on to the rest of the school, particularly for years 7 and 9, we're not going to be setting any new material over Easter holidays. I think this is a really good opportunity for you really to sort of take this period of time to sort of consolidate the work that you've got, try and deepen your learning that you've already had, and try and apply your existing knowledge to new sort of situations that you've already had. We continue that what you do over this period of time is to maintain the good working habits and routines that you've already set up over the past, keep them going, and would recommend particularly this period of time over the Easter holidays is a really good time to dedicate yourself to some solid reading and to make sure that you physically exercise every single day. That's something, in fact, which would apply to every single student. For Year 10 students, well, there's no clear guidance set out yet about how your exams in 2021 might be adapted to take into account that you're going to lose this period of time. from school yet. Whatever is finally decided upon, just take the pressure off yourself. We're confident that given the quality of teaching that we've got at the school and the support that you get and the support that you get at home, basically you'll be best placed to cope with this moving forward, and we'll make sure we'll do everything in our power to be able to ensure that you're prepared for that. However, over this period of time, you need to make sure that you keep going during this period of time and keep doing the work that you're set. We'll be asking you to expect a timetable that more closely resembles the school schedule next term, and any other work for coursework and assessment needs to be completed in that period of time as well. Year 12s, well, you're in a very similar boat to those in Year 10. Now, given the fact that the vast majority of you are studying 3 subjects, we're not going to prescribe a specific timetable as with the younger years, but we're advising that you should be spending a minimum of 8 hours of studying on each of your subjects per week. That should be roughly about 5 hours per day. Year 12 BTEC students, your coursework must be completed to each existing deadline. That's got to be met. Any existing coursework which you're due must be caught up with. And the same goes with your EPQ project as well. You must make that a priority to try and complete that before September. Finally, the YouTube channel. We'll keep you up to date with this and with any other reflections that we've got coming up over the Holy Week. But in the meantime, God bless, take care, and we'll keep in contact.